Don't I have my live? There we go. Sorry.
A child sex offender, dressed up like a girl, you know, read to those kids. That was probably not the best thing we could do, and we're sorry. That was great. They nailed it.
Soy Boy Chloe is 110% organic, non-GMO, gender misogynist, depression, identitarian.
And there's no need for anyone to think that is unacceptable. We're going to shut them down and work with whoever it is to shut them down, and they should be prosecuted. You cannot intimidate members of Congress.
Welcome everybody. Phone fully charged. This is sweet Abaddon. Glad to see you guys. We're gonna free flow tonight. I just got a few things here we should talk about that I kind of want to cover. Don't know how long we'll go tonight. Oh jeez, I'm reading some last minute articles thinking maybe we'll cover them. They make me, some of the stuff is just making me laugh. Donald Trump urges Americans to pray for Joe Biden. I'm sure he does. Yeah. Yep. Unite behind truth, reject manufactured facts, and end the Civil War. Oh God, we're living in such a upside down clown world, man. It's hilarious to me. Sad, but it's hilarious. Okay. Start there. Start there on that one there. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. I may close down YouTube later. We'll see. See how it goes. Okay, that's right.
Told the government that if they didn't fire the prosecutor, they were looking into the company.
Okay.
My son was involved in, and he was getting paid $50,000 a year.
What happens now is politics get boring for a while, but we get some good laughs out of the sniffer and the gobbler. The gobbler. The gobbler. We need to come up with a good parody, dude, for the gobbler on that one. What's up, Trust Zoom? What's up, Rational? What's up, Abaddon? How are you guys doing? So glad to have you guys around. And whoever else is lurking out there in YouTube world. All right, let's just go. I don't need the rest of the time. We're shooting from the hip tonight anyways. Welcome everybody to SGG Perspective. I changed up I go back and forth with the green screen and the, my studio area, but I kind of was in the mood to do a green screen tonight. So that's what I did. Oh, I should have got some memes up. Maybe we'll do some live memeing because I do have my meme times. I should have thought about that, but I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for being here. We're gonna go over a few things tonight. Some of the things I want to touch on tonight, so you want to stick around for is I'm gonna talk about how some of the pardons or lack thereof that Trump did, and some of the swampy things he did at the end, which are frustrating. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump into an article written, was it published on Zero Hedge, written by Caitlin Johnstone. Is that her name? Yeah, Caitlin Johnstone, which she's a pretty far lefty. I don't agree with all the stuff she says, but she's a very honest, investigative journalist. But just the rhetoric that's coming out on that Trump's new army, hashtag Trump's new army, the thing that's going around, right? The crazy rhetoric that is being pushed around, and like we've been talking about, the new domestic terrorists, which are essentially anybody on the right in America, is now going to be coined, is going to be labeled as the new domestic terrorist, and what that means for us. As always, subscribe to SJG Perspective. I know I haven't put any new articles up there as of late, but just subscribe there, sjgperspective.com, sjgperspective.com. There you can find all the other platforms, but my biggest platform obviously is YouTube right now, and that probably goes away here in the near damn future is what I think. So just subscribe there. Oh, let me read a few of the chats and just see how everyone has been since last time that we talked. I'm watching on ScrewTube and DLive. Okay, good. But that also makes me feel bad because that means I actually only have one person's in each, which is good. It just, yeah, it's good. Great idea. Go to better platform that's more free. Absolutely, yeah. DLive will be where I really start to, especially when I want to talk about anything to do with the CV, right? The China, you know what? Or any of the things that have followed from that. From the Vidax to the Medanax to the, death count, to all of that stuff, to, I can't really talk about it on ScrewTube. And I know I said last time I didn't care, and I just went after it, and I literally thought I was going to wake up to no channel. I kind of thought, oh, I'm going to wake up. I'm not going to have a channel when I wake up. But I do still for now. But James Corbett, if you guys don't know who James Corbett is, you're missing out, man. He is such a fantastic documentarian, investigative journalist, nonpartisan, very libertarian, almost anarcho, right? Mind and voice. And man, I love him. Not in a weird way, but really, really love his stuff. Anyways, he got kicked out, or he got a strike on YouTube for something he posted 9 years ago. And something so innocuous too, but it had to do with pandemics, and he got taken down. They're just cracking down. They're out of the closet. They are definitely out of the closet. They don't care anymore. They do not care what they do. They do not. There's no pushback. They own the media. They own the executive right now. They own the Congress. They own the Senate, or the House and the Senate. They have all the celebrities. Man, did you guys watch that? Everyone was fawning over the Lady Gaga, and I thought Lady Gaga's performance was not that great, and was so blatantly just grandstandingly dramatic, and it was like oh my God, it's like the heavens have opened now that Joe Biden is here. I'm so excited, and then J-Lo. I mean, I've never been a big fan of J-Lo. Yeah, she's got a big butt, right? Which is, I am kind of, butts are cool, like not girl butts. Let me clarify. But that's the only asset really that she has going for her. Not a good actress, not a great singer, right? There's probably worse singers, but anyways, her performance I thought kind of sucked too. I made that awkward and weird, and I apologize. But anyways, it is really, really insane, right? Really, really insane what happened. It's so weird to see him in the White House, and so funny all at the same time. Q people. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord God, help us. Oh, Lord Almighty. There's people that are really still, and I don't honestly want to make fun of people on the Q. I don't have to wear the underwear on my head. There's still some people that think I might still have to wear underwear on my head and do a stream come March. That's where the goalpost most recently has been moved to, is March. My bet is once March comes, they'll figure out a way to move the goalpost again. But they'll lose a lot of them at that point. I really dearly hope they'll lose a lot of people that still are believing that, but they're still going pretty strong. And it's pretty sad to me, right? I took a lot of flack when I pushed back on that bullshit, that craziness of the Q movement, right? It is just crazy to me that people still buy into this. And they're so, but I feel my heart literally, I want to really troll them and make fun of them, but my heart kind of goes out to them because they were so vested in that. They were so vested in the man. They were so vested that this was going to happen, right? And that they weren't, that it was, I wondered if I was getting some notes from some of my Q friends. Some text messages. They were so vested in it and so vested in Donald Trump and so vested in that he was going to save the republic that they just can't accept the fact that Donald Trump, by all accounts at this point, was completely ineffectual. He completely did not drain the swamp. Now you can be mad, so pissed. Well, how could he, Stephen? How could he drain the swamp? With everyone around him, I mean, how could he? And, I'm going to go to this one here. I like that look a little better. He had everyone against him. You don't understand. It was too hard for him. He couldn't drain it. And, but he tried. No, he really didn't try. Actually, well, I can't say he didn't try. I can say he wasn't effectual at it. Now, I will not say that he was part of the scam. I have somebody that I highly respect. Shout out to DG. I really respect his opinion. Very knowledgeable guy on a lot of stuff. He really believes Trump was all the way in. Was just playing a part. WWE playing a part. Knew what he was doing the whole time. I don't buy that. I have a hard time swallowing that. That could be my own cognitive dissonance. I think he was more of a patsy. And I've laid this out, and I think he was definitely more of a patsy. Not really trying to be actively part of the deception. He just, his ego is massive, and I think he's got, I personally think, now he could be acting this whole thing, but he's more of like a frat boy intellect, frat boy IQ, and he just loves it when people say nice things about him, and whenever you say nice things about him, he is going to think you're amazing and awesome, fantastic, and that's why he had to fire so many people, is because then he would see, he put them around him that really didn't have his back, their colors would come true, and he'd get rid of them. But he didn't do anything, essentially, at all, to drain the swamp. He put a lot of very deep, statey actor people around. You really look, he did put a lot of these people around him. And I just think he was a victim of his own ego and his own intellect. He believed all the juice. He believed all the Kool-Aid that his supporters and the sycophants around him were giving him. And let's be realistic. He didn't really need a whole lot of help in that arena. He already had a whole lot of support there in his mind of how awesome he was. And he was more or less a patsy, right? But when you see articles like this here where you realize he had, when the light bulb went on, this is the part where I'm like, okay, maybe they're right. Because when the light bulb went on, right, that he was going to lose, that he got played, that he wasn't going to pull it out, he had the opportunity to truly be a selfless patriot, like everyone wants to say he is, put his life on the line, somebody who's willing to take a bullet for the country, for truth, right? For the true American people that want to know the truth and want to have a legit country that is not hidden, that is free of secrets and is more transparent. He had a chance to burn it down, to burn down the lies, to declass stuff, to let stuff out. And even if he couldn't get all the stuff declassed, because it probably is not as easy as just, walking into the room next to him and pulling some documents out of a file folder and sending them out to everybody. I mean, I'm sure there are some steps to get through to some of those, and then to make sure that they're actually the documents that they say they are. But he had that opportunity, and he didn't. But even further than that, he had the opportunity to say, okay, I'm with the people, I'm with truth, and I'm pardoning Edward Snowden, and I'm pardoning Julian Assange. I'm pardoning these guys who have been blacklisted and have been targeted for torture, more or less, by not being able to, blacklisted and completely attacked for simply telling us the truth of stuff that affected us. None of these guys were on the hook for, revealing national secrets that caused operations to get in jeopardy or caused operatives to get outed. None of that. It was all just telling us the truth on stuff that directly affected us. And he had the opportunity to do that, and he didn't, right? He didn't do that. And that makes me a little bit like, why? Why would you? But he had enough time, though, during his, during all of this, he had enough time to, give clemency to rappers like Lil Wayne and Kodak Black and Miami gun-related cases. Steve Bannon, these kind of people, he could do that for them, but not for Julian, not for Edward Snowden, who told us all that our own government, the NSA, the CIA, was using these little mics here, or cameras and microphones, and our phones, right? Text messages and emails, and they were spying on anybody and everybody, and they could at will, and they were doing it at will, and they were violating those things. And shocked people. Now nobody's even shocked about anything anymore. And he could have outed all those people, and he didn't. He didn't. It's still funny. Pause on this for a minute. When I say all this stuff, and I watch my after I'm always done with my streams, I watch my count go down. I'm losing a lot of subs. I've lost close to 100 probably since in the last month. Some of that could be YouTube effery, screwery with me. But a lot of it is just people do not want to they don't want to hear it either, but they don't want to hear anything negative to do with Trump. Anytime I talk about, and so many people got pissed when I started calling the QAnon bullshit out weeks back, right? I got a bunch of pissed off people at that. And I guess I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't. Do you rather just live in a fantasy world? I've been consistent. Here's the thing. People might want to say, well, you're not loyal. You're not loyal. You're not a true Trump, or you're not a true conservative, or a true MAGA supporter. Bullshit. And just because I don't support, number one, I didn't support everything Trump had did through my whole time I've ever had my channel. I have never been a Trump humper. I have praised him when he did things that I thought were good. I have praised him when he pushed back and he stood up for things that I thought were good. Political correctness, right? Pushing back on Twitter. I mean, that was always fun. And I'm glad that he didn't give a crap, right? That he pushed back. Could have all been for show. But when he was trying to, at least on paper, it looked like it, trying to be tougher on immigration, which he didn't really get that tough on immigration. Let's be honest. He didn't really do that much on that. He always said he was doing it and bolstered a lot that he was doing it, but it didn't get a ton done there, right? I've always supported him on those things. When he was gonna threaten Venezuela, I said, no, that's bullshit. I can't believe you're doing this. This is a complete coup on our behalf. We're trying to initiate down there. I can't be. When he bombed Syria, what the hell are you doing? When he was threatening somebody, when he bombed Soleimani, I was like, what the hell is this? This is bullshit. When he was pushing us closer to war, I totally chewed back on him. I totally pushed back on him. So I'm not the one who's changed. I've been very consistent with my take on him. And towards the end, I was really hoping he was going to pull it out. And then this last year, when he jumped on board with the vaccine, and he jumped on board with warp speed, and he jumped on board with acting, with really being like, giving us trillions, being a socialist, giving trillions of dollars out, just turning our money into asswipe, right? I pushed back on all of that. And I'm like, what the hell? And towards the end, I really started to hope again. Okay, maybe he made some mistakes. He got off track. He had bad advice. He had bad this. Maybe right now, though, he's really going to pull it out at the end. He's going to really, towards the end, I think when he started realizing, oh shit, I've drank my own Kool-Aid here, and I think that I'm untouchable, and I'm very touchable. They're coming after me. And he started really pushing back and not giving a damn and firing people. Then I was like, good, Trump. Where was this Trump a couple years ago? This draining of the swamp, right? But then, so at the end here, I am totally fucking off the Trump train, right? I'm not, and if that bothers you, hasta la pasta, baby. Get out. I don't care. I'm a little bit fired up. I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to upset you for saying that, because Trump does not mean being a conservative. Trump was never even really a conservative. Honestly, he was much more of an independent, but conservative. He pushed back on red flag laws, guys. He took away bump stocks. I mean, there was a lot of things he did that were not in line with true constitutional Bill of Rights, guidelines and practices. He always talked about, oh, I'm going to do the 230 against the social media, which I don't necessarily think would have been a great idea anyways. But he talked big against him, but nothing ever happened. Oh, he talked about he was going to release all this stuff when the Mueller report came out and we had all these people dead to rights. Nothing happened. Oh, trust the plan. And we tie all this back around to the Q stuff where I've been getting all this hate because I was pushing on Q. Q used to be something like, guys, come on, this is stupid. Come on, guys, you got to open your eyes. This isn't really going to happen. At this point, it's insanity, though. If you're still buying the Q shit, it's because your cognitive dissonance is so strong and you've put so much hope and love and cultish admiration and worship for a man that you say is so godly. I mean, this was God's choice, God's man. Donald Trump was God's man. Now, true, God could use anybody he wants to use, right? He used a donkey, right? He used a donkey to talk to Paul. So God can use anyone. But are we really going to say that Donald Trump was this epitome and was this picture perfect, or was this picturesque example of godliness and righteousness and holiness? Donald Trump? Playboy Donald Trump grabs chicks by the putang? Donald Trump? And you put all your hope and your guts and your glory and your everything into this man to save it. And Q keeps feeding you the hopium. It's like freaking heroin they're injecting into your veins. And you keep taking it and you keep accepting it and you keep living off of it. To the point that you thought all the military buildup in D.C. was because at the last minute Donald Trump was going to pull an executive order and was going to arrest all the bad guys. And when that didn't happen, now you say, well, actually, it was all a CGI. It was all CGI. Actually, what you don't understand, Stephen, is actually Biden isn't even president right now. Did you see the shoes that Jill walked in and walked out with? They were different shoes. One was blue, one was tan. It was different shoes. Donald Biden's not even the president. They're not even letting him into the Pentagon. It's actually the military right now. Actually, the military is in control. They just haven't told anybody that yet. And come March 4th, Donald Trump's going to be the 19th, I think it's the 19th president after the 1871 Act. You don't understand. I'm just like, oh God. And now at this point, I want to kick some people in their, I want to kick people in their scrot sacks and their vaginal tunnels. I want to just give them a little love tap in their nut sacks and their vaginal tunnels. I know that's a little crude, but I feel like maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a little kick ski in the old the Hooter scooters, right? To get us to get you woken up. Because what Q is doing, I think Q is CIA or somebody that's legitimately deep state. I don't just think it's somebody in the basement. It could be basement that's a gamer and a programmer, and it's a LARP, it's a live action role play game but there's too much circumstantially connected evidence that's coming from somebody that has a bit of some intelligence to them. And then it'll happen. Then they'll see it. And see, that's what they're doing. They're LARPing you. It's a perfectly rolled out psyop. It's well done. That's why it makes me think I think it is CIA. Because they know what's going to happen. They know what's going down. So they LARP that out, right? They feed that out into the universe. And then people pick up on that and they hear that and they see that. And they're like, oh, see what the Q post said? See what's happening? Meanwhile, we're trusting in a man that pardoned the rappers, but not Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, true whistleblowers that were leaking secrets showing the corruption. Right? We're trusting in a guy that before one of the things he did right before he left office. Where was that at? Right before he left office, he revokes his own lobbying ban for former officials. He was draining the swamp. One of the best ways we could drain the swamp, let me tell you how we would drain the swamp. The first key things you would want to do if you wanted to drain the swamp, in my humble opinion, is you would get all the money out of Washington. And you'd say, okay, starting right now, there is going to be no lobbying taking place of any government officials. And if you are a government official, you are forbidden to work at certain jobs. That's your sacrifice. Or you can go and work at these jobs, I guess, if you want to. But there will be no collusion between government officials and big corporate money lobbying for rules and regulations and control of the government sold to the highest bidder. We're getting all the money. I don't exactly know how you do that. I just know that needs to be done. I'm not the smart enough guy to know exactly how to do that, but I can tell you right now, that's exactly step number one I would think you would do to try to start to drain the swamp. Get all the money out of there. I don't even know if that's possible. It's probably not even possible. I'm just living in let's just utopiistically think here. We're living in that perfect little world where the swamp gets drained. One of your first moves on that is getting all the money out of there. Your second move would be to run hardcore term limits. Right? Meaning that if you're a senator, if you're a congressman, if you are an official, any kind of government official, take say office, right? Government official office, but especially anything in the lawmaking, right? In the Senate, Senate or the Congress, or House or Senate, you serve for, 6 years? I think that's way too long. I think it should be 4 years, probably, like 4 years. You get in there for 4 years. For representing whatever district you come out of, you get to go in there for 4 years. You can make your $150,000, $160,000 your salary. That's fine. You can get on the medical benefits of the government for those 4 years. That's fine. When you leave office, you do not have a pension and you do not have the medical coverage for the rest of your life. You go back and you get a regular job just like everybody else. Because see, then you would write laws and you would write things that affect you when you get back out into the workforce, which simultaneously would be beneficial to all of us who are already out in the workforce. So you would have hardcore term limits, right? And maybe we make the office of the presidency 6 years and you get one term. You get one term at 6 years because they spend all this time campaigning at the end and all this other BS. But that would take all that crap out of that too. If you're the president, you got one term. You got one term at 6 years. When you get in there, that's what you do. You do it. And then you can never run for president ever again. You can't run for a second term, right? And no money in there. That would be some of the first things I think that would be draining of the swamp and getting things corrected, right? It would get the voice and the power back to the people. And then taking all the money out of campaigning, right? It should be like you should not have big donors being able to, this big corporations, then bribing people running. You should have equal airtime, I think. There should be certain class. Again, I don't know how to do this, but certain qualifications to become to run for office, and then you should all be given equal and fair television, radio time. All of it should all be exactly fair down the middle. It's not who can outspend the other person. So you hear all the ideas, right? And then if you want to lie about you can do that. If you want to spend your time doing that, fine. Make your lies all you want. But everyone gets the same amount of time. You do a few of those things and all of a sudden it becomes a government of the people and by the people. For the people. Of the people, by the people, for the people. Whatever. For the people. These are things in my mind, right? That type of system would have drawbacks when facing a foreign threat in the CCP. Otherwise, it's a great idea. I don't know if it really would have those drawbacks rational. Because, so then you have some other... if you get all money out of it, right? You can still have your parties. You're still going to have your generals and some of those people behind the scenes that are going, and if you, I don't know, I don't want to totally, I don't know, maybe it could, it would have less drawbacks to what we have going on right now, though, for sure, in my mind. But instead, you have Donald Trump, right? Trump revokes his own lobbying ban for former officials. In one of his last acts in office, President Trump revoked his administrative 5-year lobbying ban on former administrative officials in a Wednesday morning executive order, according to Politico. Shortly after he entered office, Trump signed an executive order that barred appointees from lobbying related to their agency for 5 years, in addition to a lifetime ban on lobbying for a foreign government. Every Trump appointee was required to sign a pledge agreeing to those rules. But in the last-minute move early Wednesday, Trump reversed the order and allowed the revolving door in Washington to continue swinging. The move, which mirrors Bill Clinton's revoking his own 5-year ban on the lobbying in the 90s, essentially rewards those who remain in the Trump administration until the end with the opportunity for continuous employment while granting a reprieve to former officials who had not been able to work, as Trump joked would be the case when he signed the original order in 2017. Okay, so when I see things like that, and I see things about like who he pardoned, and I see that he didn't drop any dimes, and he didn't really disclose anything, right? And then we could go further down the rabbit hole, like I said, with the vaccine and with being buddy with Gates, and with bringing Birx and Fauci in, and putting his arm around all these people, bringing Bolton's in, and you could say, oh, that was strategic, so he could scare people. These super deep, swampy creatures, right? Putting his arms around these people. It kind of makes you wonder, he wasn't who he said he was. And just on results, wasn't who he said he was. Didn't do what he said he was going to do. So you can be pissed off at me all you want. And you can make excuses all you want for everyone else. And you can say how Trump was going to do this and he couldn't do that because of this. And it was too hard and everyone was out to get him. And his son, his family could be killed if he was to drop these dimes and so on and so forth. He knew the job when he signed up for it. He knew what he was signing up for. That's my opinion. Love me or hate me for it. It's what I think. So, anyway, sorry about my squeaky chair. I don't know if it bugs you guys. It bugs me, but okay. What else we got in here? Julian, and local government or federal? Local government all the way. Your federal government. I was just thinking, lying in bed the other night. I don't know what was that. That was me saying hi. Left out though. We should have such a much more focus on local government all the way. Without question, our focus should be on local and regional governments. Federal governments, and I'm not super smart on this, would be like a Robert Knorr question, or maybe even Rational's thought more about this. I thought a little bit about it last night. It should have such a limited role. I mean, it should be like, our borders, right? Maybe our roadways, some of our more like interstate type roadways, infrastructure, right? Defense, things like that. But there should be so little federal interaction, federal control over our country. It should be mostly down to the states. There should be a few federally conducted or guidelines, right? That keep us. Thank you, Abaddon, for that. That keep us, cohesive, right, as a country. But I think it should be up to the states. And I think it's really how the Constitution was originally envisioned, that states would have much more rights. But now all the federal government has they're the big wigs on campus, man. And so we need to get back to realizing that, but they're only the big wigs on campus because we allow them to be. If local sheriff departments, if local mayors, if local councils, if state and governors and all this really took back control, there's not a lot the feds are going to be able to do one way or another, right? With all the people, because even you pick any state out there, it's got more people in it, essentially, than any of these federal agencies do, and if they wanted to try to come in and flex their muscles. And we need to stand up more locally for our own rights and really focus if we want to see change on our local, all the way down to the municipalities and whatnot. That's really where we need to really start changing our focus. But we're so caught up in this, the White House is going to save the world, the left-right paradigm. We're so caught up in that to where that's where we think real change comes from, and control, and it's not. And people are like, well, you got to have federal oversight when it comes to pollution, and you got to have federal oversight when it comes to clean water, and you got to have federal oversight when it comes to, some of these things, or otherwise these corporations and whatnot will come in and start doing shady shit. We got to regulate them. Leave that to the state. Leave that to the state. And if the people don't like what their state is doing in their own state, with their own water, with their own streams, with their own air, because these corporations are doing X, Y, and Z, then the people can revolt and can rise up and can vote out their local governments, right? And they have access to them, so they're a little more responsive. Local governments are going to be more responsive to the people to which they locally govern. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think. Can't wait for the sweet gun buyback. Can't wait for them sweet gun buyback bucks. Woohoo! Oh yeah, I'd sell mine back, but unfortunately, I lost all mine in a boating accident recently. It's sad. I liked them, all of them. Lost them. Otherwise, I totally would have sold them back. I mean, I totally would have. I just lost them all, so it's sad. Sad situation. Okay, let's go on to this next subject here. This one here. Yeah. Guys, see this video here? Or did you read this or see this video? A viral hashtag Trump's new army video is liberals at their craziest and their scariest. This is very true. And again, guys, for you that are still holding on to the Q movement and all that, you're painting a target on every one of your conservative or constitutional Bill of Rights brother and sister. Because the QAnons and these crazy ass Donald Trump butthole lickers are now considered just conservatives, right? The crazy ones that are just like Donald Trump can do no wrong; he's going to save us all. You're painting the mark on everyone else, and I am not saying capitulate and bow down and we want to hide. That don't get me wrong. We want our legit message out there, and I will stand firm with that all the way. But that firm message is that we the people together, united, right? Not we the people who just think Donald Trump's our savior. But this whole thing, Trump's new army, is pretty insane. And I think it's not an overstatement to say that they are going to ramp up and push hard. Ramp up and push hard. This is a serious cause for alarm. The number of boating, I know there was a lot of boating accidents. You're right, Rat. Even if I had guns, they would never get them. Yeah, exactly. No, but this is like what they're doing, right? I remember, guys, I did that series a while back. If not, you could watch it on dehumanization steps and the way genocides basically happen. Well, we are the new we're the new target, conservatives. We're the new target. And they say it's Trump's new army, but it's not. It's essentially anybody that does not capitulate and agree and bow down to the left-wing ideologies that are coming, that are already swinging through the door like crazy. Like Biden just pushing through this legislation for transgender teens in the sports. That is just so freaking insane to me. That we could have that, that we could legitimately say dudes or chicks with penises that think they're chicks can get on a dudes with penises that think they're, you mean what I know. It confuses my brain to even think about how it all works, but they can say, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a female, and they can go and do sports now. They kick the shit out of them. They kick the living shit out of them. There's only a couple female athletes in this world that could compete with a male athlete at the same level. Only a couple. Maybe a couple in tennis, maybe. Maybe a couple in, not even golf, sorry. That doesn't work. I would say there's one female, believe this one or not, MMA person who... You have your questions on if she has actually a overgrown clitoris or not. But she's pretty butchy. But, Amanda Nunes. Whew. And I like Amanda Nunes. I'm not saying anything bad against her. I'm just saying, well, she is a lesbian, and that's fine. I mean, whatever. But she's definitely the dude lesbo in that relationship, right? Can I not say, I probably can't say that on YouTube. I don't know. Who knows? But she could kick a few other professional UFC dudes' asses. She could. Now, she could not be the champion in her weight class in that division, right? She could not go to 135. I think she fights at 135, 145. She could not she could not be the champion at 135 or 145, right? In her weight division. But she could fight some people in the 135 or 145 division and probably win a few matches. Definitely put a bit of an ass kicking on a few of the dudes. So there's very seldom and far very, very far in between scenarios that you could say, wow, this person could, definitely compete in that. Now, you flipped it around and you had a dude, right? You could take an average UFC dude, an average one, and if he was all of a sudden a woman and he went into his weight classes, he could probably rule that weight division, right? With the exception if he was an average UFC guy against Amanda Nunes, maybe not against her. Maybe that would be a pretty good fight. But anybody else, any other woman really, might be the one. You could also think of Cyborg. She might be able to whoop some people's asses. That's true too. But very far and in between. It's just never, like 99.9% of the time, never even going to be competitive. But yet, Biden thinks that it's okay to do that to high school students. It's like a kick straight in the vajal channel, the vajayjay canal. Sorry, that might be a bad term, but the vajayjay of the women that have struggled so hard to get where they're at, and then they just have some yahoo, some sausage packer that couldn't make it over with the other sausage packers, come over and dominate. It's just BS. Anyways, I don't know why. Anyways, all of these things, man, are getting rolled out at breakneck speed. Totally got on a sidetrack there. I apologize. Getting back to Trump's new army. A new viral video calling on liberals to form an army of citizens detectives to gather information on Trump supporters and report their activities to authorities has racked up thousands of shares and millions of views in just a few hours when this came out. The hashtag Trump's new army is trending on Twitter as of this writing due to the release of a horrifying video with the title, from successful author and a virulent Russiagator, Don Winslow. As of this writing, it has some 20,000 shares and 2.6 million views, and the comments and quote tweets are predominantly supportive of it. Should we watch it? Let's watch it. Hang on. Okay. Let's watch this.
On or before January 20th, Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. He will lose control of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, and America's nuclear arsenal. On January 20th, Donald Trump will become the commander-in-chief of a different army. This army. The greatest threat facing America today comes from within. Radical extreme conservatives, also known as domestic terrorists.
See what they're doing there, and we've been laying this out, that's the new talking point, that's the new narrative, domestic terrorists. Donald Trump supporters, you're domestic terrorists. Now, there's plenty of conservatives that were Donald Trump supporters. I supported Donald Trump when he was doing the right stuff. I wasn't against him, right? I didn't hate him. When he was doing the right stuff, I would say, no, I'd support him when he's doing these kind of things. I didn't support all the stuff he was doing. But you don't have to be a completely crazy QAnoner. Or a completely crazy MAGA, MAGA fiend, right? But the fact that it's just essentially Republican conservatives, people that said, you know what, we're tired of the bullshit. We do want America first. We're tired of the bullshit and the lies and the swampiness and the both wings of both sides of the bird. We don't want that. Donald Trump played that very perfectly and brought a lot of people along. But all of us now, anybody who is a conservative is going to be labeled a domestic terrorist, and they have bills on the books, and you'll see it constantly. We saw it on the lead up to the inauguration, all the articles that were coming out, all the fear mongering that was coming out. We are now getting pigeonholed, getting characterized as domestic terrorists. Let that sink in.
They are hidden among us, disguised behind regular jobs. They are your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers.
Wow.
For more than a decade, Donald Trump has spoken directly to white supremacists in their language.
White supremacists in their language. Because we're white and because we care about the middle class that has been completely forgotten and not completely pushed to the wayside. Do you see what they're doing here? We're all white supremacists. It's you label them. You got to make sure you get the labeling done, right? And they've been doing that forever. Now, the scary part is they have the executive, they have the House, and they have the Senate, along with all the celebrity and all the other bullshit.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Pocahontas? Is it offensive? Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
In the middle of a presidential debate, Donald Trump was asked to disavow white supremacy. He refused. Instead, he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
They heard their leader. They even responded to him on Twitter.
Gosh. Okay, first off, it's the Proud Boys are the worst white supremacy agency in the world or ever because they have a Afro-Cuban as their leader. They're full of black. They have a ton of black guys, ton of Mexican guys, ton of Asian guys, right? They're not a white supremacist organization. They're an American chauvinist organization, right? They believe in American values and family, God, family, and friends, and not jerking off and making sure that you're faithful to your wife and making sure that you help your neighbor. They're just and going back again. Donald Trump has numerously now this got thousands of shares and millions of views, and this is all most people know because they've never taken the time, like you and I, people that have really dug into this stuff, to really realize what's going on, right? Donald Trump was completely taken out of context and lied about when it came to what he said in regards to white supremacy. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world to try to pin him as a white supremacist. There's something else that they said too I was going to talk about, but anyways.
Promising to stand by. And on January 6, 2021, Trump greenlit them. They suited up. They flew in. They took hotel rooms. They loaded their weapons, prepared their bombs, and they attacked.
5 bombs, right? That none got set off, right? They're making it sound like these were the words. They got let into the Capitol. They were let into the Capitol, right? They were polite most of the time. Now, there was some that got rowdy, but we also know now, as a fact, it isn't just rumor anymore. There was plenty of low IQ Donald Trump supporter MAGA people in there that were being a little too rowdy. Plenty of them. And you got the actor dude Angeli or whatever, Jake Angeli, who had the horns and whatnot, right? Fine, we get all that. We see all that. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, they were let in, and they were polite, most of them. They were, but they're being painted, and were painted as these crazy insurrectionists, domestic terrorist insurrectionists. They were really hoping they were going to go off and do a lot more stuff that they didn't do, and so they had to really pump it up like they did a lot more stuff because they didn't do, I don't think, what they were hoping they would.
With the intention of killing Nancy Pelosi and hanging Vice President Mike Pence.
What a bullshit! They came with the intention to kill Nancy Pelosi and hang Mike Pence. This is the most ridiculous shit in the world.
They were vocally saying, "Where's the speaker? We know she has staff. They're here someplace. We're going to find them."
In the years ahead, Trump will lead his army of domestic terrorists. He will encourage and incite violence.
Wow.
He will play the role of arsonist and fireman. He will start a civil war and then say things were more peaceful when he was president. We have to fight back. In this new war, the battlefield has changes. Computers can be more valuable than guns. And this is what we need now more than ever, an army of citizen detectives. I'm proposing we form a citizen army. Our weapons will be computers and cell phones. We, who are monitoring extremists on the internet and reporting their findings to authorities. Remember, before the Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, he had to be found. He was found by a CIA analyst working on a computer thousands of miles away.
Okay, guys. I hope you see what's happening with this, too. When the right after the Capitol stuff happened and the FBI came out and said, hey, if you know anybody, turn them in. We need your help in turning them in. We need your help in tracking down these terrible, terrible domestic terrorist insurrectionists. Forget about the burning and murdering and looting that happened for months and months and months, a few months prior, just for months on end, and nobody raised a goddamn finger to do goddamn shit about anything. Forget about that. These crazy red, white, and blue MAGA supporters went in there and, you know, moved a podium and put their feet on the desk and LARPed around and were loud, and they're the ones that are crazy ass domestic terrorists, right? But anyways, they said, help us find these guys. Do you really think for a second that they needed help finding them? Think about that. Do you think for a second that they needed help finding them? They didn't need help finding them. They have $6 billion or whatever it is of defense spending in Washington, D.C. and of security. They have cameras on every lamppost and everywhere. Facial recognition, the craziest of the craziest technologies. They know and knew every single person, what they did and where they were and what they took. The only reason they were telling everybody we need your help is the very same reason why we have this viral video going around. Is because they want to enlist the brown shirts. They want to enlist and get you comfortable with narking out your neighbors and narking out those who are around you and your family members. And that happened. Narking people out, getting you to snitch. See something, say something. You see a Trumper, you tell on him. You get him fired, it goes on to say. We're going to read a few things on this article. But that's what's happening right now. And guarantee you in this next 4 years, it is going to be a major pushing point, a major hot topic, and a major focus, because they want to silence completely. I think that's one of the reasons why they picked Donald Trump to be the patsy that he was. They wanted to pull all of these, 95% of them, just good-hearted American people that just want the good old American apple pie dream, right? They wanted to out all those people because those are the people standing in the way of the new ideologies and of the new, the new cultural swing that needs to take place in this country. Those are the people that are in the way and that are slowing the our progressiveness down. So we need to get rid of them. So we need to out them all out, pull them out of the woodwork, so we mark them all.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. If that doesn't wake you up to realize what's going on and to get you off that stupid Q train, I don't know what will. Get out of that Q train, guys. Get out of that ridiculousness that is set as just a setup for you. Read some of the tweets here. So viewers are now showing footage, so we watched all that. They are hidden among us. Disguised behind regular jobs, Winslow warns. They're your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers. It says Winslow talks about white supremacists and Capitol riots, warning that Trump will continue escalating violence, fomenting a civil war in America. We have to fight back. I think people also do have to wake up to the fact that if civil war ever comes to America, you'll know it when the time comes that you have to actually physically defend your family, right? I think we'll all know that organically. But I don't necessarily disagree with the fact at this point that he isn't there fomenting some stuff that he shouldn't be. But I am glad he told people to stand down. I don't think he fomented the riot at the Capitol. I think he was kind of used in it as a willing party a little bit. I think, again, that he didn't think it was going to get so out of hand, right? He was going to show support, and I think he was like, oh, shit, man, they're really going a little farther than I wanted them to. But we do have to be careful that we don't have somebody that is just, and that's why I think it's important to say, to really take more of a sober look at who Donald Trump truly is and really question some of him. I don't agree with any of the stuff they're saying here, that he's a white supremacist and all that other stuff. No, that's all rhetoric. That's all just fear-mongering, divisive rhetoric, right? But anyways, it's a new war. The battlefield has changed. It says our weapons will be computers and cell phones. We who are monitoring extremists on the internet and reporting our findings to authorities. The viral video is being loudly amplified by popular resistant accounts like Majid Padlin, better known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant, with frighteningly paranoid and Huek-like rhetoric. It says, Trump's new army is vile, and we know who they are. They are our teachers, neighbors, police officers. They're everywhere. Expose their treason, Brooklyn Dad Defiant says. We're the treasonous ones now. Donald Trump is on his way out, reads another. Good riddance, but his army is still there hiding amongst us. They are traitors. They are evil, and they must be rooted out. We're evil. We're traitors. If you believe that, you don't believe in the whole maybe LGBT, no, it wasn't even him. You believe in conservative values is a better way to put this. You believe in family values, you're evil. You're a traitor, and you need to be rooted out. You don't sip off all the Kool-Aid from the ideologies that is pushed from the left. You're the evil one. You need to be rooted out. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, reads yet another. But some people, they pledge their allegiance only to Trump. Well, that's true. And I think that's wrong also. When you pledged your allegiance to Trump, we were misled if you did that. I don't think I ever did that. I didn't. I know I didn't ever do that. There's people who have. I understand why they have. It was even a slow roll of not realizing. You thought you were just supporting Trump because he supported America. But before you know it, you got in this Trump cult. But these people are not domestic terrorists that want to go out and blow people up and kill people. Right? But that's what they're, but you also are somebody who doesn't buy into the ideology of most of what's going on the left. We're all being lumped together. These are dangerous traitors. After 9/11, we were told if you see something, you say something. We have terrorists in our midst. Some of us know these people. It's our patriotic duty to expose them. So if you were hoping that maybe liberals would chill out and get a little less crazy with Trump out of the White House, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. This is as insane and scary as I've ever seen these people get. And I was in the thick of the peak Russellgate hysteria. An aggressively manufactured push to get an army of citizens spying on each other calls to mind the Stasi informants of East Germany. The patriotism-fueled digital digging of the QAnon PSYOP and the NatSack LARPing of Louise Mensek Twitter all rolled into one great big ball of crazy. Veteran CIA officer and former deputy DNI Susan Gordon calls for a 9/11 commission kind of activity to apply lessons that we learned in the fight against foreign terrorism to battle domestic extremism. This comes out as we are being bombarded with mass media punditry from literal CIA veterans like Sue Gordon, Alyssa Slotkin, forcibly hammering home the message that domestic terror is the new frontier. Domestic terror is the new frontier. We need to combat the violent extremisms, meaning, of course, the new Patriot Act-like solutions will be needed. If we thought the Patriot Act solution, or Patriot Act number 1, was going to do some harm or did some harm to our civil liberties, you ain't seen nothing yet when they roll out the second Patriot Act. Winslow himself spent 6 years traveling and doing research for a novel about a former CIA operative. And if some government agencies didn't recruit him during that period, they clearly should have. This will get frightening if it keeps up, just as a relatively low-profile lefty blogger, which is Caitlin Brown Johnstone. I routinely get liberals online falsely claiming I'm a Russian agent and saying they'll report me to the FBI, and that's without aggressive campaign urging them to join a powerful digital army. The fact that Winslow stays very vague about what he means by Trump's new army, which he does, right, and constantly conflates rank-and-file Trump supporters with white supremacists, which he does, means people are effectively being pointed at all Trump supporters. I mean, it means effectively that this is being pointed at all Trump supporters, especially when normal Trump rallies are what he points to in the video. How many fights, how many civil wars, how many bombings, shootings took place at Trump rallies? How many people got beat up at Trump rallies? How many Trumpers went out and beat people up? None. Many defended themselves. I can't think of any. Well, you do have the Jussie Smollett one. Oh, that's right. No, that didn't happen. If this takes off, it can very quickly lead to a volunteer army of power-worshipping snitches against literally anyone who's critical of U.S. foreign policy. That's where it all boils down to. They're trying to take Minds down. Minds is very infiltrated with people from the left, the Tim Pools of the world, right? People that are actually liberal, but liberals even look conservative now under the crazy far left ideologies that are coming down the pike. But this is aimed honestly at. They're trying to start it out by saying it's the crazy MAGA supporters, but really it's trained at anyone who's critical of U.S. foreign policy or the Democratic Party, whether you actually support Trump or not. In fact, just following the trending hashtag, I'm noticing Twitter users saying this means targeting all Trump supporters. So clearly, that is the message that's being absorbed. The video is making people crazy and scary. I've been in the thick of the liberal insanity right now through a peak. Oh, no, that was what she said. Trumpers are pushing back so hard against this video because so many of them live in the dark, cloaked behind normal jobs, seemingly normal lives, Winslow tweeted. Well, maybe that's because they're half the voting public, Don. Winslow mixes in these generic comments about Trumpers with comments about white supremacists, about whom he tweets. Number 1, we expose them. Number 2, we identify them. Number 3, we notify law enforcement. And number 4, we notify their employers. This is just liberals being pushed towards targeting anyone, guys, who isn't ideologically aligned with them for their destruction. It's meant to literally manipulate people and trick them into ripping each other apart. This is the new level of division so that we don't focus on those pieces of elite shit that are making our lives miserable and terrible, who are getting us fighting white on black, right? BLM, Antifa against Trump supporters and MAGA, who are keeping us fighting with one another. That's always their game plan. It doesn't change. They just change it up a little. The essence of it doesn't change. The tactics kind of change once in a while. It's about getting us fighting and getting us against one another. You have this article here. That was the Trump one we just watched. Supreme Court evacuated due to a bomb threat during the Biden inauguration. Department of Justice sedition team investigating Capitol rioters just like international terrorism. Washington Post saying QAnon adherents discussed posing as National Guard to try to infiltrate the inauguration, according to the FBI intelligence briefings. Per AP, defense officials fear a possible inside attack at the inauguration. National Guard troops were vetted. Incitement of free speech. Comey calls for Republican Party to be burned down. How the intelligence community views the dangers of domestic extremism. And then after all of this that has been set up and pumped and thrown forward, we have sleepy sniffer tell Americans to unite behind the truth, to reject manufactured facts and end uncivil war. Again, guys, every goddamn thing they ever say they are for is exactly what they are against. Whatever they say they are against is exactly what they say they are for, or is exactly what they are for. The extreme gaslighting that takes place is mind-blowing. We are the new dab, but we are the new enemy. They have everything and they're coming and they're hungry and they're going to catch up on anything that got derailed. I don't think he was in on it playing along. I think he was a patsy and they had to try to control Trump these last 4 years. And I think sometimes he got out ahead of his skis. He was doing things that they weren't necessarily wanting him to do. And they realized we got to probably get this guy out of here. Maybe we could have kept him in here for 4 years, but probably got to get him out of here now because he's really not, that controllable. So let's get him out of here. No doubt in anybody's credible mind that was paying any kind of attention that the election was, no doubt. But every election is that way, quite frankly. This one was just really blatant. And there was a lot of people that have came out in support of it because they really believed in the message. Now, personally, I hope that energy continues in the right direction, but I hope people get woke up to the fact that the left and the right are part of the same wing of the same bird. We get out of this left-right paradigm. Don't do anything stupid and quit believing in the Q shit that's going to keep you in a fantasy. It's a fantasy. I think that's about all I'm going to say on all of that right now. Read a couple things here. I didn't even read you guys' text. Thank you, Backholler, for the lemon. Thank you, Lisa, for the lemon. YouTube has changed something in the algorithm, peeps. New purge incoming, I think. Why do you say that, Rat? Did something just happen right now? Whatever they accuse you of is what they're doing. Exactly right. Whatever they accuse you of is exactly what they're doing. Literally smirked the whole tribe of Indians to death. The West has the memory of a goldfish. It always turns out that way. Yeah, you're right, Easy. And I think it's that what they want. When the smoke clears, they'll offer a solution. Yeah, no, I think it is. I think you were talking about that. They do. They want all of that. Joseph Biden is the most popular president in American history. Yeah, he is. And he needed a whole bunch of people to protect him because he was. He needed 25,000 security troops because he was the most popular president in history. Makes a lot of sense. I saw some clown in the media called Joe Stalin Papa Joe. That is what Stalin was called. Yeah. I'll tell you what, so let me go over here to DLive. I just read some articles tonight, guys, off the cuff, to talk to you about some things. Yeah, I think I might have it. I don't think I have enough to give you guys anything, because I gotta put 50 in. Yeah, I don't have enough to put in. So unless somebody wants to donate, donate a diamond, or somebody donate 10 ice creams or 5 ice creams real quick. If you want to do that, I'll wait for a second. If you want to just start dinging it, I'll give it back to you. We can do that. It's always fun to see who wins, right? See who gets the most. YouTube algorithms is now giving me people being hit by golf balls. That's funny. Okay, so we got Lisa gave me an ice cream. Okay, we got the mic is yours. All good. There we go. Lisa PC. There we go. Donated 2 lemons, or okay, that's 2 more lemons. We got a diamond. A diamond is, oh wait, did somebody say a diamond? Oh, you didn't, okay, good. All right, that's enough. You don't have to give me more than that. Yeah, that's okay. You guys are good. All right, that's enough. Now I can put it back in there. I'm all like, stop giving me money. Stop giving me money. I appreciate it though, guys. I just like to give it back to you. So I'm going to submit that. Then I'm going to go back in here and submit some more. I'm going to see, I just like to give it right back to you guys. My buddy the other day was like, they give you this, why don't you give it all back to them? I'm like, because it's fun. It's like $1. It's like a couple bucks, man. Now, if somebody like donated a Ninja Jet, right? I'm not going to give all that back in one stream. I'm going to thank you deeply. But on these, it's a couple bucks. It's fun to, you should keep at least 5 lemons for your network fee. What? You should keep at least 5 lemons. Oh, okay. That's fine. I can't do the next one. All right, cool. All right, so let's distribute these and see what happens, okay? Here we go. 28 seconds here. Had a bunch more people on YouTube, I think, a little while ago. They all left, unless they all came over to DLive. They're like, I'm getting in on that. Stick it in me, basic backhauler. What? That doesn't say. It's a family channel, man. It's a family channel, basic. Here we go. What is it? Abaddon, 59.4. Liesel, 34.5. JD, 25.2. Lisi PC, 20.2. Sorry, Lisi PC. And Basic Backholler, 17.1. Thank you guys for your participation and hanging out. I always like to give back to you on that kind of stuff when I can. Why is my head a little dark? Oh, probably because I did. Maybe it's because I'm not. There we go. Now is it? Okay, yeah. When I go dark, it screws up the pixelation a little bit. Okay, so I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm consistent with an hour. I always feel like at about an hour time, I'm like, okay. You guys have heard me ramble enough about this or the other. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure you, obviously all you guys have, but SJG Perspective for people who listen to this later. Follow me there. And I don't know what we're going to talk about going forward. I get tired of just talking about these news clips all the time. I want to start talking about something else. I'm trying to figure out kind of what my format should be, or what my. I want to get back to talking about the moon landing. That's fun. I want to talk about Laurel Canyon. That's a really interesting story. I kind of want to talk about 9/11, even though it's old news. It's so old news. I still think there's things on there that are interesting. I want to talk about some different things. Our government, guys, our government tried to kill Martin Luther King, right? They plotted to kill Martin Luther King. They were convicted in a civil court. The government of the United States was convicted in a civil court of attempting and plotting to kill Martin Luther King. So if they would do that, if they would plan that, if they would lie to us about that, there's nothing they don't lie to us about, in my opinion right now. There's not much they wouldn't lie to us about. So we got to keep our minds open. We got to do our own research. And we can't get sucked into this cult worship of figureheads. So, that is my message for you tonight. If you are believing in the Q stuff, I get it. I don't want to be really harsh with you. I want to be understanding. But man, guys. Man. Yeah, Rational. I just haven't done anything. Well, I still have it. SJGSEE. My conspiracy channel. I just haven't done anything with it. I might start uploading to those too. Yeah, I don't even know what channel. What is the name of that channel? Let me go to this for a second. I forgot about that channel. I always forget about it. I haven't done anything with it at all. But I should push some people over there. That would be fun, just for the hell of it. Manage your Google account. How do I? Your channel, purchase, switch accounts. Is it that one? Let me see here. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's not it. Switch accounts. Hang on. That was an very old account. Oh, wow. I lost a lot more tonight. Down to 1770. That's funny. I was at like 1870 a little while ago. Down to 1770. I burnt some tonight, but that's all good. I'm not too. I really don't care. I don't care if it goes down to 30 or 40 again. Whatever. I'm not too. Okay, let's go back to my channel. There we go. I think it's SJGSE. Yeah, SJGSEE. I think that's it. Hi. Oh, Putin wants. Did I put a couple of videos up on there? Oh, I must have. I didn't know that. Or did you do that, Rat? I don't know. Anyways, guys, here's my other channel. I'll put it in the chat. I have not done anything with it. I might do some stuff with it. And if I get kicked off of here, I might end up just having, doing some stuff over there until they kick that off. That's my other channel. It basically stands for, SEE stands for Subterfuge Exposure Experiment. SJG, Subterfuge Exposure Experiment. Subterfuge is like conspiracy and whatnot. So, I thought it was a clever name. So, yeah. So that's the other channel. You guys can go subscribe to me over there, whoever's here. Got 19 people. All 19 should just jump over there too. The same 19 people that always listen to me drone on every effing time I do a stream. Anyway, I really like the Next American Vagabond. I would encourage you guys to go and listen to him. James Corbett from the Corbett Report. I would encourage you guys to listen to him. And it's probably stuff along those lines is the stuff I'm really going to more focus on. I really do want to talk about the whole COVID type stuff, because I think that's really what matters right now. And the VACCINE type stuff. I want to talk about that stuff. And that will be stuff that when I'm doing those talks, I'll start out on YouTube and then I'll push all you lazy butts over to DLive. So, all right, guys. I think that's about it. I'm going to jump off. But I appreciate everybody who hung out tonight. I appreciate everybody who hangs out in the chat, who gives me nice comments on my videos, and who appreciates being here. I appreciate you. Since Rational's here, it's become a thing that I have to say without fear of animals, because he lives in Australia where everything can kill you, and he was one of my first subscribers, him and Gator and Dave Phillips. But Gator and him were the two loyals that would always come by and hang out in the chat. And so without fear of animals and or without fear or animus, it's SJG Perspective. And I will talk to you guys real soon, right? We'll do one probably do one tomorrow night or Saturday night. So talk to you guys later. Have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Bye.